Hi, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to change out the battery in your Lamborghini Gallardo. We're going to be doing this on my Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera, and although I have a brand new battery, I wanted to show you how to do it because I got a couple questions on how to perform this procedure and some of the pitfalls to include the one special tool that you will need. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to reprogram the key so that way you'll never be locked out and you'll never have to fiddle with the little mechanism on your door or anything like that and possibly damage anything. So stick around for the end for that tip, but let's get into the front and I'll show you exactly what you need to know. So if you have a pre-LP Gallardo, you're going to have a light bulb right here. You're going to pull it out from this angle and then disconnect it. Mine's actually broken, so I can't really show you that. And then if you have an LP Gallardo, you're going to have a 12 volt socket and then a light right here. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pry from the top and then it will pop out with spring clips. So once it pops out, you disconnect the connectors on the back and you should be good to go. So if your car came with a 6-disc CD changer, you're going to find a T25 Torx underneath this cover. So you're going to move this bag out of the way if you have it. And then once that T25 Torx is loose, this cover comes right off. So to take the CD changer out, there's an 8mm bolt right here and an 8mm bolt right here. Get these loose, but don't take them out. And once those are loose, the CD changer will slide towards the inside of the trunk because on the inside right here, you have a slot and it's not a hole. And then go ahead and disconnect that CD changer. Then you can go ahead and depress this grommet in towards the inside of the car. If you can't do it with your hands, just get a screwdriver and just be careful. There you go. And then on the inside, you're going to find a T30 Torx here, here, and on the other side right here and right here. And for some reason, the camera always makes everything look super dirty, so I apologize. And with those fasteners removed, we can pull gently on this trim strip and take it off. And then we can put it on the side. I'm going to grab where this light socket used to be. And then I'm also going to grab where this connector also goes through. So start by gently pulling it out, and then you can push these connectors through all the way. And then the front trunk assembly comes out just like that. So looking at this battery bracket, you're going to know that you're going to need a special tool. And this is actually called a 12-point triple star. So I have a socket set that I recommend, and I'll link it in the description below. This one's a little bit rusty. And they sell them in a little kit. The one we're going to be using is an M10, a little bit rusty, but you can tell the other ones are good. And then if you're desperate, you can use a T50 Torx, but I really don't recommend it. And if you're really, really desperate, you can use a pair of vice grips, but I really don't recommend it. With that bracket out of the way, we can finally get at the terminals. So we're going to start by disconnecting the negative terminal first, and then we're going to disconnect the positive terminal. And this will reduce the amount of arcing that we'll see when we connect this battery. And you're going to find two 10mm bolts right on the top right here. And be careful with these because mine was actually ruined on this side. So I'll show you exactly why and something to avoid when it comes to installing the battery on your car. So the negative comes off first, just like that, and then the positive, just like that. And then you can go ahead and pull your battery out. Obviously use the handles and then pull it out. And then when you put your new one in, you're going to fully seat it against the back side of this and make sure that it's right in the back, right in the stock position where it used to be. And then make sure that the indentations on the bracket line up with the indentations on the battery and the bolt holes, just like that. If they're offset, you can move the battery to the left or to the right just to get that alignment of the battery bracket to be proper. And you don't want to puncture the battery or anything like that. So with the new battery in and properly aligned, you're going to put these 12-point triple star fasteners back in and then tighten them down. And then before you put the terminals back on, I recommend applying a little bit of dielectric grease to these connectors. And you can find this at any AutoZone or any auto parts store. They come in the little tiny packets at the front of the shelf. And one thing I want you to note with these connectors is that these are made out of some sort of softer metal and they distort very easily. So if the connector doesn't go onto the terminal for the battery properly, what you can do is you can get a screwdriver and gently pry between the two with this connector a little bit loose. And that will give you a little bit more space to properly seat the connector back onto the battery terminal. Just like how we disconnected, we're going to reconnect the positive terminal first, And you see, since I spreaded that a little bit, it sits right onto that terminal very nicely. And you don't want to over torque this connector either. And then same with the negative terminal. It might arc just a little bit, that's okay. And then see, fully seated properly just like that. You might notice this is actually a different bolt. I actually had to replace it because somebody torqued it down too much in mine, but you shouldn't have that in your car. Just like that, perfect. And then we're ready to put the front trunk right back in. So what I recommend is putting it in about halfway, grabbing the connectors on the left side for the CD changer, and then slowly lowering it back down and putting the wires through the orifice. See that the wires might get caught on the hose leading to the front windshield washers. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to reach onto the left side. So just be patient and push those out of the way. And the trunk should slowly start to lower back down into the cavity. There we go. Then you're going to want to pull this grommet through as well. And then for this light connector, you're going to want to reach through the battery door and then push it on through. Find it and then push it through. And then you can reconnect your light. And if you have a battery tender, now's a good time for you to put the wire back in its place. Then you can go and tighten the 4 T30 fasteners on the left and the right. And then you're ready to put the CD changer back in your car. So you're going to want to connect it first. Want to align the bolts with the partition on the CD changer, and then slide the CD changer onto the bolts. And then go ahead and tighten down those fasteners. Then you can get the cover trim and place that over the CD changer. Make sure it's fully seated. And then you can get your T25 Torx and put that in underneath. And then last but not least, you're going to want to get your trim and install it back onto the car. And this is going to sit on the overmolding on the outside, not the actual trunk assembly itself. So find the grommet where it sits and then place it right on top. And then it should. And then you can slowly move around and start pressing it in. So now that we have battery in, we can go ahead and reprogram the key. And if this video has helped you so far, please consider giving it a like. That way it lets me know that I'm giving good content to you. And with that out of the way, let's go reprogram this key. Hop in the car and we're going to turn the key to ignition on. And don't worry about this, I'm actually prototyping something up here, and I can't really tell you what's going on up here, but it's pretty cool and I'm pretty excited to share with you that in a future video. So the first thing we're going to do is so with the ignition on, we're actually going to roll down the window, and I'll show you why. And then we're going to hold down the lock and unlock button for 5 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we can take the key out of the ignition. And this is why we open the window, so we can stick our hand out the window and see if it actually worked. Didn't work. So turn it to ignition, hold it down, Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi 5. A little bit more time for good measure, right? I don't know if you heard that, it worked this time. And that's why we unroll the window, so we can do it more than once. And that's why we stick our hand out the window, because if it doesn't work the first time, we can always do it again. So no big deal on that part. And once you have that and it unlocks and locks when you stick your hand out the window, you're ready to go, and you have a fully programmed key, and your car is ready to go. If you don't have a battery tender on your car, I highly recommend it. I have a video on how to install a battery tender on your both LP Gallardo and the pre-LP Gallardo. So I'll link that up above, and be sure to check that out if you don't have this on your car. So if you really like this video, I really appreciate it if you consider liking and subscribing. That really helps me out, and it really helps me know that I'm providing good content to you. And I love doing DIY content on this car, so if you want more of that, please let me know as well. But until next time, thanks.